Hello, I'm Jeff Cavins, and today we're going to look at the scriptures for the 25th Sunday in Ordinary Time. The gospel reading comes from Luke chapter 16, and it's one of those readings that's a little hard to figure out at first because it's a story about a man who is not taking care of his master's financial situation and his goods real well. And as a result, he's called on the carpet and he's told to get the books in order. He's not going to be working for his master anymore. And what the man ends up doing is he makes friends with his master's debtors. Now, we don't really understand exactly what's happening in the story until we come really to the end of the gospel reading, when Jesus says that you cannot serve two masters. You cannot serve God and money. And so the reading is about this man's attitude and his attachment to money. And we find that he eventually becomes free from that love of money, which is what all of us should be. What if I told you that there was this stuff out there in the world that if you had it, you would have security? If there was this stuff out there in the world, if you had it, you could obtain anything that you wanted. If there was this stuff out there in the world, you could go on any excursion or experience that you wanted. Well, there is that stuff, and that stuff is called money. Now, it's just a piece of paper. It's just a coin. It's just a line in your bank account. But it represents so much. It's not money that is evil, but it is the root of all evil. That is the love of money, and it can possess you and it can control you and your heart and your whole life. And I think it's because money represents so much. It represents security, it represents purchasing power, it represents status, it represents a life of ease, of health care, so forth. And so it's what money represents. And most of us would say that if I could just make this amount, I would be happy. But the statistics show us and the studies show us that when people do obtain the amount that they say will make them happy, it doesn't make them happy. And in fact, you can go all the way to the end and you can find that lottery winners actually end up unhappy, because money can destroy your life. The love of money can destroy your life. Ultimately, what we are learning from the gospel reading this week is that we can't serve both. We have to make up our mind. Are we going to serve money or are we going to serve God? And if we serve God, that means that money takes on a whole different relationship. And that's one of the problems that we struggle with, is our relationship with money. Does it represent everything to us, or are we stewards? I would propose to you that our relationship with money is different than the world's relationship with money. For the world, it represents everything. It's the ticket to everything. For us, it is a tool that we use to serve God, and that makes us stewards. It's really not our money. It's really not our power. It is God's. And if we're stewards, then we are responsible with everything that we have. And money doesn't have us. We may have it, but we serve the Lord and we use the money in that service. So this week, I'd like you just to think for a little bit about your own heart and where you're at and what you're willing to sacrifice for money, the relationships that you'll sacrifice, and the experiences and time with God just to have that money. I'm reminded of what Jesus said. He said, "Seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things will be added to you." And so our priority as stewards is seek God first. He'll take care of all of this. Let Him own your heart. Don't let money own your heart.